If they running their mouth, then they looking for trouble. Ran right up in the knowledge, now they back in the huddle. See, they know we can fight, new content every week. Me and Dr. Clyde, keep on bringing the heat. Now they know that we driven, and they know we quitting. Yoshi and the winner, keep on bringing the energy. Unity. See, they know we ain't stopping, and they know they got problems, and they ran out of options. If they know we got a problem, can't let it go unsolved. Brain based learner, Afrocentric history, we see tomorrow. Karma's karma, I say what I say out here underwater. Till I see I fall off, then I bring y'all up on note. I'm back up on my Clyde winners, 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 divine winters, Clyde winters, mind bender, Clyde winters, I'm Richard, ride with ya, master teacher, create masters, Clyde winters, give respect to the elder, Clyde winters. Somebody else that living for me. I told you somebody else that looking for me. I think there's somebody else that looking for me. I think there's somebody else that looking for me.
We have to live by God. We have to live by God. I have not done wrong. I have not robbed. I have not stolen. I have not drank. I have not told lies. I have not stolen food. I was not stolen. I have not fornicated with the fornicator. I have not caused anyone to weep. I have not dissembled. I have not transgressed. I have not discussed secrets. I have brought no lawsuits. I have not wronged the population. I have not struck kill. I have not transgressed the law. I have not been hunted. Except when I'm talking about on the tongue. I have not made extolling. I have not bragged. I have not cursed. I have not been violent. I have not confounded truth. I have not been impatient. I have not cursed against somebody else that living for me.
Dr. Winter's legacy is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration. His impact is felt worldwide, as he shares and enlightens at conferences, symposiums, and collaborative projects. His voice is a beacon in the academic world, challenging, inspiring, and always educating. His journey reminds us that the quest for knowledge is never-ending, and its impact is timeless. Dr. Winters teaches us to challenge the narratives and to learn with an open mind. As he always says, B1 is not a group, it's a lineage. Let his story inspire everybody to pursue knowledge relentlessly and to always seek the truth. Now let us welcome in the grandfather of research, the Trill OG himself, the Honorable Dr. Clyde Winters.
What up, though? What up, though? How's everybody doing, family? How you doing, Dorville, Tony Campbell? What up, though? You know, this is a very exciting day. You know, you guys probably say, I say that every day. It is exciting. You know, when you get my age, if you wake up in the morning, it's an exciting day because I never expected to get to be this old. I knew when I was younger that I was going to be dead before I was 21 because damn, everybody around me was getting shot and killed, and I wasn't even in a gang. And even though I wasn't in a gang, you know, people was being, hurt. People was being, shot. I got shot at a couple of times. Had guns put in my face. You know, you're going to join the gang. I said, fuck you. back then, people wouldn't shoot you if you were looking at them. Now, nowadays, you think I would tell some of these kids? Nah, 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 nah. These kids, they're very heartless. These kids, in a sense, they look at all these games where they're killing people, so they wouldn't see any problem with wasting my ass. How you doing, Dorvell, Tony Campbell? But it's a wonderful day, and the reason it's a wonderful day is the fact that it's sun shining out there, and when there's sun, I know that I can't do anything except, in a sense, be able to get out there and reach the sun. Yes, Dorvell, it is. The antidote to AIDS. What is the antidote to AIDS? The antidote to AIDS is Black History, baby. How you doing, Black Scraps, the gamer? How you doing, Craig Hoskins? B1. It's all cool, but again, in a sense, is that it's exciting today. I've been, riding around talking to people, my family and other people. And I don't see really any excitement, about the upcoming election. How you doing, Craig? I don't see any excitement. It seems as though people, in a sense, they're just taking this like any other year. They're trying to get people all hyped up and get people to go and maybe vote for Kamala or Kamala or President, our old president. But the thing is, that nobody's really excited about that because it's kind of hard for people to get excited because the fact is, this is a yes, we're going to have a new president, but people don't really, I don't think people really give a damn. I know that as Foundation of Black Americans, we know that whatever's going to take place is going to take place. And, that because things are going to go the way they're going to go, it doesn't matter. It can be a rich man, poor man, beggar man, chief can be in the White House, but that doesn't mean they're going to do anything for us because, no, they're not going to do anything for us. Trump, nobody. Because Kamala, nobody. They're not going to do it because, see, that would be against the code. What is the code? That would be against the code of white supremacy. The code of white supremacy states in its official documents that you must keep the Negro down. You must keep the Negro in his place. You must make sure that foundational Black Americans never have the money, never have the wherewithal, never have the financial backing to be able to make this world their own. That's what it's written. Yes, it's written. I haven't seen that document, but I know it's written somewhere because they really feel, in a sense, that if they're going to be successful, they have to, in a sense, keep us down. They have to hold us back. A lot of times, in a sense, they want to demoralize us because, see, the thing is that, they successfully was able to make us commit mental genocide. What I mean by mental genocide is that, we've always, yes, I'm going to tell you this, and I know I tell you this every week, foundational Black Americans are the majority of the population in this country. Okay, because we're the majority of the population in this country, that continually, in a sense, impact upon us this idea that we're the minority, that we're struggling, and that we're going to be overwhelmed by the Latinos or this one or that. Well, no, we're the majority. And they know we're the majority. And we know we're the majority too, but deep down, most Black people feel, why should they really worry about it? Because we had to go along to get along. Yes, that's it. Go along to get along. Many people feel, in a sense, is that as long as you get a little piece of the pie, that's better than getting none of the pie. But, we are the majority here. But what does that matter? Yes, what does it matter if you don't have any, in a sense, the monies and the resources to really give you that type of backing? But again, today I'm going to talk about, the relationship between Black people in the Americas and in terms of African civilization. As I've told, I don't believe we, in a sense, came from Africa. No. The vast majority of us did not come from Africa. But there were many Africans that traveled to the Americans, Because, see, the thing is this, is that you got to remember that America, at the founding of the America, when the Constitution was already written, they stopped the importation of slaves from directly from Africa as a result, in a sense. Whoever was going to be American was here already, you know, FBA or whatever. That's one of the reasons why we have so much, most of our surnames go back to the Irish and the British, because, you know, many of the Black Irish, 300,000 were made into slaves and sold into chattel slavery. And then when you think about the fact that they estimate that around 200,000, you know, Africans may have come here directly as chattel slaves. So you can see 2,000 here, 2,000 there. I mean, that toss them up. So it's all a trick. But the most important thing to remember is that you're FBA. We're a unique people, and we have a unique history. And while we were here, we went through an ethnogenesis, a very good thing. You know, Yoshimad the genius. He has a very interesting video, and in this video, you know, he discusses, in a sense, our so-called roots, FBA roots. And I want to let's look at this video real quick. This is by Yoshimad the genius. You can find this video. You can find this video on Gumroad. If you go to Yoshimad the genius Gumroad.com, you will be able, in a sense, to view this video. And he has other videos there too. Right.
No need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Oh, no need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. The Moors once grew from woman to man. In Europe's heart, they wanted our land. Dr. Clyde reveals the hidden past, where blackness thrived, a vivid past. No need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Oh, no need to pretend anymore. The truth is in your face. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. From maroons to moors, the truth is told. Stories of strength, being black is bold. Cultures blended, histories merged. A bond of funk, our souls converge. European tales, they twisted well to hide the truth, but their plans soon fail. See, Dr. Clyde's light shines beyond bright. We the black aboriginals are righteous in this fight. Are righteous in this fight. European tales, they twist it well. FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots. Face FBA roots, FBA roots, FBA roots.
You know, again, that's a beautiful video. That video was done by Yoshimad the genius, and I hope you guys will support Yoshimad. You can go to yoshimad.com. No, yoshimad.gumroad.com. You can go there and you'll find the videos that have been made by Yoshimad there. So check them out. But today I'm going to talk about, ancient South America. And I think that this, I think, is a very, very important topic. And I like the topic, mainly because the fact, in a sense, is that there was a lot of migration. America was never isolated from the rest of the world. And because it wasn't isolated from the rest of the world, you had many people come over here at different times. and they came over here, and they in a sense contributed much to how we view the world and everything like that. And what I want to do today is I want to talk a little bit about the Nubian, Olmec, and Chavin civilizations. There's different names, but many of these people had a lot of cultural elements in common, and we're going to discuss those elements today. So let's get started. Okay, Nubian, Olmec, and Chavin civilizations. You can go to my Patreon to see the slides. This presentation was suggested by, a member of my Patreon. And my Patreon, the people on my Patreon, they make these videos possible because they provide me with the resources to be able to get the latest material that relate to the various, topics that I discuss. And so I really appreciate the people in my Patreon, and I hope that you'll join my Patreon. Yes. I hope you will also become a Patreon member, because what the Patreon members do is, because the fact, in a sense, that they give me regular support, I'm able, in a sense, to go to various pages, in a sense. A lot of stuff today is behind a paywall. And what it is that by having people join my Patreon, they provide me with the funds that I can use to buy those articles, be able to read those articles, and take that information and present it to you every week. So again, join my Patreon, please. And I want to thank the members of my Patreon for their support. You're on my YouTube channel. Here I have over 400 and I think it's over 450 videos. Don't just come here to listen to my talk every Thursday and maybe Sunday and Wednesday, but don't just come here for my talk every Thursday. Come here and spend your time here. The antidote to CAIDS, culturally acquired immune identity deficiency syndrome, the only, in a sense, antidote for CAIDS is learning your history and knowing your culture. I'm going to do a video maybe next week on our culture, because I think it needs to be discussed, because many people, in a sense, they have the wrong idea that the culture that's presented by people like Sexy Red, Sukihana, and Gorilla, I think it is Gorilla. There a lot of those girls are immigrants and stuff. So you can't blame them for doing whatever it takes, to make money. And I mean, that's the immigrant way. When you're an immigrant, you always feel you had to do whatever it takes. And you feel anything that you do is a worthwhile, in a sense, pursuit, because you're here to make money. I think a wonderful video was made by this sister, and she said when she came from Africa, she said, "I come to take, baby. I come to take." Yes, they come to take. So there's nothing wrong with that. But join my Patreon and give me your support. You can come to here and you can videos. I have over 450 videos that deal with every topic, every subject. You can order my books at Amazon.com. Please go to Amazon.com. Put in there Clyde Winters Books, Amazon.com. Buy one of my 40, 50 books. Buy one of my books, and or buy two, maybe three. Support me, because the other thing is that your support is what allows me to have the inspiration and allow me to really feel that what I'm doing is impacting on people, and that what I'm doing is really something that you guys are interested in. Because see, by having people support you, it makes you, in a sense, feel that you are doing something, and it makes you feel that things are worthwhile. So again, order my books at Amazon.com. Let the researcher do the research. Yes. We need people to do research, and the best way to learn how to do research is to get my books. You can get my book, Pathfinder, Clyde Winters, In Search of the Roots of Afrocentrism, a memoir. This book explains how I became an Afrocentric researcher, and it can help you too, in a sense, learn how to be a researcher. And my book, Afrocentric Researcher, is a very worthwhile book, because this book, in a sense, it outlines what I do, what helped me to become a researcher, and it's very important that you do this, and that's true. And as we need this information to fight CAIDS. Dorvell says, Dr. Winters, you have to add the infectious to caves because it is culturally contagious. Yes, it is culturally contagious. I will have to. I'll have to maybe do that because by doing that, then therefore, in a sense, I can make it so that people can see even more of this whole important idea of the fact, in the sense that we're here to fight caves. We're here to fight culturally acquired immune infectious disease syndrome. You can find out more about the Aboriginal FBA in my book, my essay book, Black History Gems Essays, Volume 1, Volume 2. Get both volumes so you can learn more. Whenever you're talking about any aspect of foundational Black American history, you need to have my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877. As you can see on the cover, I have in a sense, in Indian, I have a Black European, and I have a foundational Black American. And see, we are a result of all these people. We're a result in the sense of Africans, Aboriginal Blacks, and Black Europeans who made this history. So get my book, History of Blacks in America, if you want to know more about our history and culture. If you want to know about our DNA, get my book, The Phylogeography of Afro-Americans and Africans. In this book, I discuss, in a sense, Afro-American or foundational Black American DNA. Why, in a sense, you carry the R1 Y chromosome, and how, in a sense, although this R1 is associated with Caucasians, it's also, in a sense, associated with us because, in a sense, it points back to our existence in the Americas for over 10,000 years because the original inhabitants of America, many of them carried R1, the R1 Y chromosome. You can also get my book, We're Not Just Africans, the Black Native Americans. In this book, I talk about the Black Native Americans, but I also, in a sense, try to talk about their relations. So any of my books that you can get that will help you to learn about Black people in America, Atlantis and Mexico, African empires in ancient America, ancient Blacks of South America, the Mandi in ancient America, the Black Mound Builders. By any of these books will help you get a good foundation, a good understanding of our history over here in these Americas. Get these books. But today we're going to talk about this whole idea of what is this relationship? What is this relationship between the Nubians and, in a sense, the Chavin culture? The Chavin people, they were an ancient civilization in Mexico, but often we think about the Olmecs, but it was more. Yes. It was more than one Black civilization down in Mexico and South America and other places. And because the fact, in a sense, is that Black people were not isolated on one continent. You see, you had to remember that Africa used to be very watery. And because of the fact that Africa was very watery back in the day, many people in Africa was familiar with riding in boats, making boats, and navigating by the stars. And because we had this ability to make our own boats and, in a sense, to travel and navigate the various waters in our area, they also took these abilities to navigate from those gigantic mega lakes that once existed in Africa. That made it, in a sense, that they weren't afraid at all to maybe challenge the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans because they were familiar with sailing and navigation. But we're going to talk about Nubia and, in a sense, the ancient Americas. When we think about Nubia, we think about Aswan and Khartoum. And these were our trade centers in sub-Saharan Africa. And Nubia was known for its gold, copper, and stones. It's also, in a sense, known for the Nile Valley, because they had irrigation and trade. And the trade, in a sense, was mainly done by people who were traveling by boats or caravans to avoid the cataracts. Because the Nile River it has a lot of cataracts, and you can find places where you can sail long distances, but you can't really go all the way down the Nile because you run into these cataracts, which make it kind of difficult for ships to travel. And you also, in a sense, want to think about these relationships. When you think about the Nile Valley, we're looking at this area, we're looking at this part of Africa, and you're thinking about, in the sense that you begin up in what's called the Lower Egypt, which would be the Delta region, or the region in the far north, and then you move south. And now you're probably wondering, why would the northern part of Egypt be called Lower Egypt, and then Nubia would be called Upper Egypt when it's down, when it's further south? It's because of the fact, in a sense, they were looking at the world different, you see, because they weren't migrating. They weren't migrating from the Delta down to Sudan. They were migrating from Nubia and Sudan up into the Delta, on into Europe and West Asia and beyond. So this is often what you have to keep in mind whenever you're trying to understand this whole idea of North-South relationship to the expansion of African people. Some of the earliest cultures in the Egyptian cultures would be, in a sense, the Old Kingdom Egypt. They went down into the Sudan in search of riches. And much of their material culture, much of their riches came through Nubia. Then we had the Middle Kingdom, and during the Middle Kingdom, Egypt was very aggressive. They wanted to control, in a sense, the Nubians. And even though it was mostly peaceful, they still built a lot of forts. And they built forts so that they could have a foothold in Nubia, so they could, in a sense, maintain, trade. Because wherever there's trade, wherever there's, in a sense, riches, there's always people who want to be thieves. There's always people who want to steal. So you wanted to make sure, in a sense, that you had various forts and outposts that could be able to protect your trade routes. Between 1750 BCE, we see the beginning of the Kingdom of Kush. They made very huge mud brick monuments. We know, in a sense, that these ancient peoples in the Nile Valley, they believed, in a sense, in the afterlife. In the early days, they did sacrifice people, but over time, they stopped sacrificing people, and they, in a sense, did practice burial. The New Kingdom was one of the greatest kingdoms in the history of Egypt, and they made sure, in a sense, to keep the people in Nubia in check, and they ruled over Nubia so they could exploit its gold. In fact, the word nub, is an Egyptian word that meant gold, And so then, because of this, in a sense, because of the fact that there was this constant interaction, some people believe, in a sense, that the Egyptians imposed their culture, on the people in Nubia, but not really. They came from the same cultural background. And since they had the same cultural background, much of their cultures was identical. We know that they built pyramids. They built these beautiful monuments and stuff. In fact, most of the pyramids in Africa are found in the Sudan or Nubia, and not in Egypt proper. One of the greatest kingdom was the kingdom of Meroe. It was a kingdom of the people in the Sudan. The Meroitic kingdom began around 1200 BC, and that was at a place called Napata, which was also along the Nile. Over time, in a sense, the people in Meroe, they sometimes ruled Egypt, and sometimes they lost, and the Egyptians ruled them. But we know, in a sense, that there was always a constant interaction between the people in Egypt and the people in Nubia. We know that one of the earliest and greatest civilizations in Nubia was the civilization that we call Meroe. Napata, it was a very strong civilization. They had their main capital at Kerma, but we know a lot more about the people in ancient Meroe than we do in Kerma. We know that the city of Meroe is huge. It had, in a sense, nice watery resources, and it's known for iron smelting. So it was known for iron smelting. And this civilization lasted for an extended period of time. The Meroitic kingdom, sometime written by the people over there, is Mediwi or Bediwi in Arabic, to Meruah and Merui. Ancient Greek was Mapon or Meroe. The Egyptians called the city Meroe. A group of villages near the city are called Bragarawiya. So Bragarawiya is the modern site that people believe, in a sense, was probably ancient Meroe. Why does the Nile rise and fall in a regular seasonal pattern? This is something, in a sense, that was very important. Because of the way the Nile rose or Nile receded, this, in a sense, led to the Egyptians learning how, in a sense, to be able to build a great civilization. They knew, in a sense, that once the Nile overflowed, then that sedimentary soil, that rich soil that came from the Nile River, in a sense, was spread along the areas along the Nile, and this made an area that was very, in a sense, fertile, where the ancient Egyptians and Nubians could grow many crops, and they in these areas they grew crops, in a sense, that was able to support many of the peoples that lived in that area. By 540 BC, the Kushites, and this is what we call the people of Meroe, the people of Kerma, and other civilizations below Egypt, we call them the Kushites. By 540 BC, the Kushites moved their capital from Napata to Meroe, which had been a provincial town within the kingdom. Here in Meroe was the major center of ironworking in Africa. From here, caravans took Meroitic goods east and west into Africa and other countries bordering on the Indian Ocean. Yes, they were very rich. In fact, you find tons and tons of pyramids, and these are some of the pyramids that were built in the Meroitic Empire. The Meroites called themselves Kush, but we may never know the exact meaning of Kush. El Taruk and J. Leclerc have found in the Meroitic text that the Meroites refer to themselves as Kish. I noted that in the Tanya Damani stela, the Meroites called themselves Kushites or Hashites. Kushites. In the Tanya Damani inscription, we read Quarine, Tayimani, Neal Ek Hosne, El Bla Pa Amni. The monarch, the commander, the good and noble Tanya Damani, give this Kushite leave to praise and supplicate Amani. Yes. We know, in a sense, that the people in the Sudan, they worshiped Aman. And Aman is a very ancient god. He was the hidden god. But the Aman was the god of many people in Egypt, and also many Dravidian people, many Tamil that live in India. They also worship Amma or Aman. And it's kind of interesting that when you're a Christian, whenever you end your prayers as a Muslim or a Christian, you usually end your prayer with Amen or Amen. Amen. And that means, in a sense, grant your prayer. But also, in a sense, I think it harks back to Aman, this ancient god, this mysterious god, the power god of the people of Africa. There are other mentions of Meroe. There is an Ethiopian city south of Aswan called Merawi, as also mentioned by Sicilian and geographer Strabo, Marawa, in his book Geography. After the archaeologists had reached the Sound Valley irrigation, they were able, in a sense, to look at, in a sense, the the Meroitic language. So yes, many people, in a sense, they've been able to decipher the Meroitic writing for a long time, because of the fact is that the symbols were also used in ancient Egypt, but the language, that wasn't known that wasn't known until I did my decipherment some years ago. The people of Meroe long had writing, which probably appeared around 4000 BC. They used the Demotic script and hieroglyphic during this period of Kushite history. Yes. Before the fall of ancient Egypt, the Meroites usually used the same writing systems that were being used in Egypt. After Egypt went into decline and Egyptians migrated out of Egypt into Meroe, the Meroitic people invented a cursive script which originated in Central Asia. This writing was written in the Kushana language of Central Asia. The Meroitic script uses many Kharoshthi signs. If you look at this chart on the right-hand side, you can see a comparison of Meroitic and Kharoshthi signs, and you can see how the Meroitic signs, show that they were probably taken from the Kharoshthi language and used by the Kushites, because there were many people in ancient Kush. There were many people in Egypt and Kush for centuries, that believed in the Buddhist philosophy. And Kharoshthi was the writing system for many of the Buddhist theologians. So that's one of the reasons why Kharosthi was such a popular language among many people in Upper Egypt and the Sudan, because of the fact that many of the people who lived there were Buddhists. The Kushana left Central Asia and helped found the Meroe Empire. Many of the Meroites were probably descendants of the Kushites of Central Asia and India, called Kushana. The Kushana ruled India. They originally lived in the Gansu province of China. They migrated to Central Asia and China after 175 BC, when their great king was murdered. This would explain the statement by Philostratus in the life of Apollonius and Jerome that the Gymnosophist is the ancient name for the Buddhists, that the Gymnosophists of Kush, who settled near the source of the Nile, descended from the Brahmin of India, having been forced to migrate after the murder of their king. Eustathius also said that the Meroitic Kushites came from India. So we see that there was this relationship. You can see some of these ideas. You can see, in a sense, on the right-hand side, you can see some of the Kushana rulers. You can see a Kushana coin down at the bottom. And you can see, in a sense, how they even had Epidemic, one of the major gods of the Meroites. You can see how they often depicted him, just as they depicted some of the Kushites as they depicted some of the gods or some of the figures in the Hindu religion. So you can see this kind of relationship. There's considerable evidence that the Kushites and Meroan Indians were intimately related. At the Temple of Epidemic at Naka, we see Buddhist influences. Here there are also many elephants depicted in the Meroitic art, and Musawarat of Indian rather than African origin. Here you can see some of the various artifacts that they found. You can see, in a sense, how the god Epidemic was often depicted, just as many figures that you find in India. Kush enjoyed much prosperity until they were conquered by the Exumites in AD 350. After this defeat, Meroe declined as a power. The major gods of the Kushites was Amun. The temple of Amun at Jebel Barkal is second to the Egyptian temple at Karnak. Another favorite god was Osiris. The people of Meroe built beautiful temples and pyramids and sculptured reliefs. The temples consisted of small single-chamber buildings with a colonnade surrounding them. All these structures were built of sun-dried bricks. You can see some examples over on the right-hand side. The largest Meroitic urban centers included Sennar on the Blue Nile, Kawa on the White Nile, Wad Ban Naka, Meroe, and Dongola, Napata, and Sanam. The burial place of Meroitic kings shifted from El Khoury between 900 and 700 BC to Nuri between 700 to 300 BC, and finally Barkel Meroe from 300 BC to AD 400. You can see these places on the map. The Egyptians and Meroites share many gods. In the Meroitic funerary text, there is mention of Amma, Isis, Osiris, and Mesh. Other Meroitic gods include Epidemic and Sebeway Maker. Here you can see the god Epidemic. You can see the Egyptian. You can see the Meroitic crown over his head, and up in the top left-hand corner, you can see some of the Meroitic inscriptions. Here again, in a sense, we can see here's another example of the influence of Meroites and of the, Hinduism or what we consider to be Brahmanism in the in South India, or Buddhism, where we see a queen and then we see Epidemic. He has three heads. Epidemic, he has, in a sense, 4 arms. And this is another important element of Meroitic civilization, which suggests a Kushana influence. in ancient Kush. Here we see the helmet and crown style. Whereas the earlier Kushite ruler wore skull caps, the Meroitic kings wore an elaborate atif crown, which combines the earlier Kushite crown with the common rounded, pointed helmet of the Kushana rulers of Central Asia. This along with affinities between the Karasi writing and the Meroitic, clearly indicate the Indian influences that existed in much of the Sudan. But again, as I said earlier, we do know that Buddhism did originate in Africa, but I guess it had its most popular popularity in Asia back in the day. Here we can see in a monument where we can see some of the various Kushite rulers. We can see this is the stela of Amun-Shikado from the temple of Amun in Naka. Amun-Shikado stands between Apademek and his wife Amisimi. The inscription reads, Ikushite, the living Akamenashati, the goddess Amsimi, with a falcon on her head. In summary, the Kushites are known in history by two names, Hush and Kush. Hush and Kush. The chronology begins with the Tucidi Kustal, 3300 to 3500 BC. Then we know that in a sense, later we see the development of the Abydos, or Tehinu Palette around 3200 to 3000 BC. Then Narma, the greatest ruler of ancient Egypt that expanded, that ruled in a sense, not only in Africa, but also West Asia. The C group came around 2400, 1500 BC. The Kerma dynasty, we believe, existed between 2500, 1500 BC. The Egyptian fifth dynasty, which is very important history, it existed between 2500 and 200 BC. The sixth dynasty, 2345 to 2161 BC. The Hyksos dynasty, and the 25th dynasty, then finally the Meroitic period. Again, in a sense, to understand, in a sense, this relationship, this whole idea of the Kushites, we have to look at this civilization. But we know that also we begin to see that Americans also there are many people in the Americas. Some of the first Black people to arrive in the Americas came here about 35,000 years ago. By 1000 BC, we see the Olmec, in Mesoamerica, and we see the Chavin in the Andes. The Olmec were Mandingo speakers. Yes, the Olmecs were Mandingo speakers, and they settled around 1200 to 1300 BC along the Gulf Coast. And then we also see the Chavin culture, which in a sense was in the Andes. Yes. These ancient Black people, they brought with them their civilization. They brought with them from Africa the whole idea of building pyramids. They also, in a sense, brought to the Americas from Africa this whole idea, in a sense, of building their monuments related to the stars. They built, in a sense, various monuments that gave you an understanding, or that testified to the earlier presence of these Black rulers, these Black inventors who lived in ancient America. And these people, in a sense, did build pyramids. But I want you to understand, you see, although many people are always interacting, with people in South America, the Americas, and Mexico, it's very important to understand that there were already Black people here. Yes, there was already Black people in the Americas going back 35,000 years ago, before the Olmec even came into the Americas. But again, in a sense, much of the civilization that we're going to talk about was in the Olmec heartland. The Olmec heartland included Oaxaca, Monte Alban, La Venta, Then we know the Mayan areas, which was further in a sense to the further to the east. The Olmecs, they lived in Veracruz between 1200 and 400 BC. They grew corn and beans and squash, just like the other people that lived in North America. They grew the three sisters, corn, beans, and squash. They had a vast network that extended all the way from Mexico down into South America. Some people, some people even claim that the Olmecs may have settled parts of North America. I don't really know. I don't really see that much of an influence between civilizations in North America and the Olmec. But I do know the Olmec, they were a very powerful group in Mexico, and they also had, in a sense, some important centers, maybe as far as South America. They lived on colossal mounds, and these mounds were used in religious ceremonies. They made beautiful artifacts, including animal motifs. They had calendars and writing. Yes, yes, yes. They already had their calendar and their writing. And as I've shown in other videos, and in my books, I've shown, in a sense, that the calendar that they used was, in a sense, an African calendar that is still, or was still used among non-Muslim people among the Mandingo group. But the Olmec art is very beautiful. First of all, we do know a lot about the Olmec heads, and these giant heads, in a sense, are the most characteristic of Olmec art. The Olmec culture is considered one of the earliest and most influential civilizations in Mexico, flourishing between approximately 1500 BCE and 400 BC in the tropical lowlands and on the Gulf Coast of modern-day southern Mexico, particularly in present-day states of Veracruz and Tabasco. We find the Olmec culture. The Olmecs are often referred to as the mother culture. Yes, yes, yes. The mother culture of Mesoamerica, because they laid the foundation for the subsequent civilizations like the Maya, the Aztec, and the Zapotec. Colossal heads. This is a characteristic of the Olmecs. The Olmecs are best known for their massive stone sculpture, particularly colossal heads, which range from 4 to 11 feet in height and can weigh up to 50 tons. These heads are believed to represent rulers or elites and are remarkable for their realistic and individual facial features, including flat noses and full lips. If you, I made videos where I discuss the names of all of these stone heads, because most of the names of these stone heads, they usually engraved them in the on the side and in the top of these heads, and so you can read the names of these various rulers when you check out some of my videos. I'm gonna do a video on Bipopo, and Bipopo is one of the is a head from Lorenzo, and I found his obituary, so I'm gonna bring that up soon, and we'll discuss that. Other stone works, in addition to the heads, include altars, thrones, stelae, and a stela is an upright slab with carvings, often featuring intricate religious or political symbolism. They also had many jade carvings. The Olmecs had a deep appreciation for jade, a highly valued material they used to create small, finely crafted figurines, masks, and ornaments. Religion was central to the Olmec life, with a focus on shamanism, the belief in the spiritual intermediaries between the physical and supernatural world. Rulers often were thought to be shaman themselves. The Olmec revered the jaguar, a powerful animal in their environment, associating it with rain, fertility, and divine authority. The were jaguar figure combines the human and feline traits, and it is a frequent motif in the Olmec art. Olmec cosmology involved complex ideas of duality and transformation. Their rituals revealed, in a sense, an understanding of the earth, the sky, and the underworld. The Olmecs established several key urban centers, the most important being San Lorenzo, La Venta, and Tres Abades. San Lorenzo, one of the earliest sites, goes back to 1200 BC. Yes, 1200 BC. La Venta goes back to 900 BC. It became the cultural and ceremonial heart of the Olmec civilization after the decline of the San Lorenzo. It features large pyramids, platform mounds, and complex urban layouts. These elites featured public buildings, plazas, and monumental structures, often oriented according to astronomical alignments. The Olmecs had a thriving economy based on agriculture. growing crops such as maize, beans, squash, and manioc. They also exploited the rich natural resources of their region, including rivers for fishing and transportation. Long-distance trade networks connected the Olmecs with other regions of Mesoamerica. They traded for materials like jade, obsidian, and precious feathers, which were used in their art and religious practices. Here you can see one of the Olmec calendars. This, in a sense, this is an Olmec monument, which gives us one of their earliest dates. Yes, yes, yes. Here we can see much of the Olmec writing, and we can see also, in a sense, here evidence of their calendral system. And this, in a sense, is very important because see, this stone right here is confirmation of not only the originality of the Olmec civilization, but also their great ability in terms of writing and calendrics. The discovery of the Casca Jaw block, a stone tablet of what appears to be an early script, suggests that the Olmecs may have been among the first in Mesoamerica to experiment with writing. I translate the Casca Jaw monument, and I'll probably discuss that maybe in the future. But it's very important to understand that the Olmec, yes, the Olmec, these Black people were great civilization builders in ancient America. They built the calendar. As I said before, the Olmec were mainly Mandingo speakers. Yes, they spoke the Mandingo language. The Olmec came from Africa, but there was already, and most important, you had to understand there already was Black people in Mexico before the Olmec came, and these Black people had been in the Americas for at least 30,000 years. See, but the Olmec, in a sense, they came in a sense from Africa, and they introduced, in a sense, the Olmec civilization, writing and calendrics. By around 400 BC, the Olmec civilization began to decline, maybe due to environment. Olmec motifs, religious symbols like the jaguar, and architectural styles can be traced in the art and architecture of subsequent cultures such as the Maya and the Zapotecs. The Olmec civilization was a foundational culture. I repeat, the Olmec civilization was the foundational culture for Mesoamerica. Their advancements in urban planning, religious iconography, and monumental art would echo throughout the region for centuries. Their enigmatic symbols and colossal heads continue to intrigue scholars who regard them as pioneers in the religion's complex, hierarchical, and ritualistic societies. The Chavin culture was one of the earliest and most influential civilizations in the Andean region. This is a map from the Khan Academy, and you can see the Chavin culture, which was along the coast of South America, around Peru. The Chavin culture exists between 900 and 250 BC. It was a very important culture in the Andes Mountains. They grew maize, quinoa, potatoes, and they had the llama. The llamas, they used them in a sense as animals of burden and also as food in a sense. They were not conquered or brought down by a rebellion. This is some of the area to show that it was a kind of rough area, but just imagine this area today. It's kind of, as you can see, it looks a little crappy today, but back in the day, it would have been much more green. It would have been much more greenery. The land was much more richer, and in a sense, the people were able to grow many crops in this area back in the day. The Chavin people were deeply religious, and their culture revolved around complex rituals and the worship of gods associated with nature and the cosmos. The primary deity of the Chavin is often depicted as a hybrid figure, combining features of the feline, typically jaguar, serpent, and birds of prey. This is the Chavin staff god and stuff. This mix of powerful animals symbolizes the importance of these creatures in the spiritual life of the Chavin. The staff god is one of the most iconic representations from the Chavin period, depicted holding a staff in each hand with serpent and feline features. Again, this is the other Chavin staff god. The staff god is one of the most iconic representations. This figure would later influence other Andean cultures in terms of divine representation. Shamanism likely played a central role in their religious practices, as evidenced by the ritual use of hallucinogenic plants, such as the San Pedro cactus, which were thought to allow communication with the spiritual world. Chavin de Huartar, the most significant archaeological site from this culture. Chavin de Huartar served as both a religious temple and a pilgrimage. This large ceremonial center included plazas, temples, and underground galleries, which were used for the religious rites. The site is renowned for its intricate stone carvings and monoliths. The Luzon at the heart of Chavin de Huartar is the Luzon, a stone monolith about 15 feet tall carved with the image of a deity. This feature blends human, jaguar, and snake features, symbolizing the merging of the natural forces. Yes. Chavin art is characterized by its complex and abstract motif. Stone carvings, pottery, and metalwork were adorned with images of felines, birds, serpents, and anthropomorphic deities. They also, in a sense, crafted many goods, and they worked with metals. The Chavin people were not a vast empire, but rather a widespread religious and cultural influence across the Andean region in South America. Their society was likely highly stratified, with a priestly class holding significant power. Their economy was based on agriculture, with key crops, including maize, potatoes, and quinoa. They also domesticated animals like the llama, which were used for both food and transport. Trade was vital to Chavin society. Their influence reached as far as the Pacific coast. Yes. The Chavin civilization is often considered an horizon culture because it served as a foundation for many Landian cultures. By around 200 BC, the Chavin civilization began to decline, possibly due to social upheavals, environmental changes, or shifts in trade routes. However, their influence persisted in Andean culture for centuries. The Chavin de Huartar site itself continued to be an important religious center long after the civilization's decline, and Chavin art, religion, and architecture left an indelible coat on the Indian society. Again, don't forget to join my Patreon. Please support me. My slides of this presentation will be in my Patreon, so you can download the slides from my Patreon, and you can, in a sense, get much more understanding of the culture. And please join my Patreon and support me. Please, in a sense, don't just come to my weekly Thursday show. Please come and visit some of the other videos on my website. This website right here on YouTube, I have here over 450 different videos that discuss all aspects of Black history. You can order my books at Amazon.com. These books include Pathfinder, Clyde Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentrism, a memoir. In this memoir, I explain to you how I became a researcher. I explain to you the importance of my wife in terms of her allowing me to understand the importance of knowing our civilization and understanding the history, the great and wonderful history of foundational Black Americans, ancient and modern. You can also get my book, Afrocentric Researcher. And my book, Afrocentric Researcher, this is the book that I use in my research class. And I usually have my research class about twice a year. And many people went through this research class. And today they're publishing articles and books like Sister Shanice Lindsay. Again, in a sense, you can find out more about some of the Aboriginal FBA in my volumes, Black History Gym Essays, volumes 1 and 2. Get my Black History Gym Essays 1 and 2 because they can help you to understand the history. If you want to find out more about the history of Black people in the Americas, North America, that is, these United States, get my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877. In reality, I discuss the history all the way up until the riots. Again, other books, in a sense, that can help you to understand the history of foundational Black Americans is the Phylogeography of Afro-Americans and Africans. In this book, I discuss our genetic origins. The whole point is this, is that many people, if you get a genetic profile and it says that your ancestors came from Nigeria and they were Yoruba, oh, that's bullshit. Because most of our ancestors, in a sense, did not come from Ghana. Most of our ancestors, until in a sense, the America bought the former French colonies, Louisiana and all that. Most of the people, in a sense, most foundational Black Americans came from the Senegambia. If you want to learn more, get my books, The Phylogeography of Afro-Americans and Africans. And if you want to know about the Black Native Americans and some of our culture, get our books, We Are Not Just Africans. But other books that can help you to understand this period is Atlantis in Mexico, African Empires in Ancient America, the Mandi in Ancient Americas. And the Mandi in Ancient Americas, I talk about all the various Mandi influenced civilizations that formerly existed. And the Black Mound Builders of America, I discuss the mound builders. So that's a very, very good book. Thank you for joining me. And I appreciate it in the sense that you were able to show up at this time and not just show up, but also in a sense to share with us some of your understandings. Baby Ghost, Baby Ghost. This person in a sense seems to be a troll. So I think I'll just delete some of his comments. Okay, then they said who we have people in the chat are talking about various things, And okay, it's these people in a sense have varying attitudes. And the chat is interesting, And many people in the chat, especially Baby Ghost, Baby Ghost in a sense, this guy, he seems as though he's in, I don't know. He seems like he's a troll. Let's see, he says, interesting. He says that, thank God for the original nations like the Iroquois Confederacy whom ruled this land. The Iroquois is what are you talking about? Are you talking about the first Iroquois? You're dumbass. You don't even know it was two. The original Iroquois Confederacy was made up of Black people. The one that they mainly talk about was made up of the red man, which in a sense is kind of not the original. Garrett calls it Indian used to be called East Ethiopia, I believe. India, East Ethiopia, I don't think so. Baby Go said, "Your African brother, that's my people you're talking about." We're all African and Black people, dumbass. But a lot of people, in a sense, because of the fact that they don't know their history, Baby Ghost, I think you're a troll. I think you're a troll and stuff. Okay. Then Kamala Harris is Black from India. Yeah, she's supposed to be from India. And Black people did live in India, but as I discussed earlier, Black people in a sense many of the people in India, especially the Tamil speaking people and the Telugu, they originally lived in Africa. Teresa Miller said, "Hotep, Hotep." Teresa, how you doing? Darnell Coleman said, "I can't stand trolls." Yes, you can't stand trolls, but the point is this: is that people in a sense, they you have to understand that a lot of people, that's how they make their living. You have to understand that the European, he pays people to go around and go to Black sites and then try to stir up discord. But again, sometimes you need to answer these people. And that's why I've written these books. If you buy these books, I guarantee you that if you buy these books, you will find in a sense that people cannot troll. Because when you find these books, they give you such a great understanding, of things that were going on, that it's just interesting, you see. But you'll only know the truth if you do the research. That's one of the reasons why I established a research course, and I have books in the sense that can help you become the researcher. Because see, a lot of times people will sell you any bit of goods, but sometimes you have to be the researcher. You have to, in a sense, do yourself. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, let the researcher do the research. Dr. Clyde Winters, let him do the research. We need more researchers like Dr. Clyde Winters. Yes, yes, yes. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, we don't understand that it takes people who want to do research to be able, in a sense, to tell us our history. Yes, many people have taken my course, the Afrocentric Researcher. You can take it too. All you got to do is join. But if you don't, in a sense, join, understand that it's through your hard work, through your persistence, that you can become a researcher. Yes, yes, yes. Let the researcher do the researcher. You know what? I've written some books that can help you to be a researcher. Those books are Pathfinder, Clyde Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentric Studies. Yes, yes, this book is an important book. It'll help you learn all about your history. My other book is Afrocentric Researcher by Dr. Clyde Winters. This book, in a sense, is the most important book that you will find. What makes this book important is that the Afrocentric Researcher provides you with a course, yes, provides you with a course outline that tells you all the things you do to be a great researcher. Yes, get these books, the Afrocentric Researcher, and in a sense, get my book, Pathfinder. These books are the books you need to be successful, the books that will make you a great researcher. Get these books, but let the researcher do the research, but you can be the researcher too. Check out Yoshima Productions. Yoshima, the genius, he's created many videos and great books. He's written a very great. Today is today. Today is today. We need to homeschool our children due to white supremacy. In many states, education departments are passing laws to deny our children from learning the history of foundational Black Americans. Today, you can learn how to organize and teach your children in a homeschool in my book, A Guide to Homeschool Foundational Black Americans. You can use my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, to teach our children their history here in the United States. You can use my book to teach world history. And this book I've written is called The World History of the Black World. This will teach your children about every Black civilization in the world. Get this book. The time is now. Get these books to teach your children about their greatness, to prevent them from losing confidence in their own ability to learn and be successful future adults in employment and education.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
Parents looking for a story that would not only captivate your little one's imagination, but would also teach valuable lessons. The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Andito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you, Hotel.
You know, Dorvell says, Dr. Winslow, are you ever going to cover any of your police research? Well, that was back in the day. Maybe one day, if I thought people were interested, but that stuff is 20 years old. But I will admit, you know, I wrote an article on educating Black children. I mean, educating people in the prisons. And I wrote this article in 1991. And do you know that article is still being cited today? I'm really surprised, but it's still being cited today. And you know, I did a lot of research on different topics, but you know, I like to mainly talk about ancient history, and so that's what I mainly spend a lot of time talking about is ancient history because I like it the best. Even though I'm good in contemporary history, linguistics, philology, all that type of goodness. But see, you know, back in the day, that's what I really was back in the early 2000s. You know, I used to be in a lot of forums. We used to have a lot of debate forums where people would discuss linguistics, anthropology, and different subjects like that. So I used to be in those forums, you know, debating with Europeans sometimes, and because you know, you had to get out there, and I used to love to debate Europeans back in the day. And the reason I used to love Europeans back in the day, debating with them, is because of the fact, in a sense, it helped me to refine my research, and it led to many of the studies and books and articles I've written. Because published about 50 books, and I have about at least over 200 research articles, and I did a whole lot of presentations. Until I retired, I usually did about 2 presentations a year. So you know, maybe one day, Dorvell, you know, one day I may do the police research, but I don't know if people are really interested in that, you know. But I may go down that road. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank everybody for sharing and taking the time to join us. And I really appreciate you joining us because, see, you know, I hope that you will try to get Yoshima's book, The Bloom. I pestered this man for months to publish the book, so please Order the bloom.
Parents, looking for a story that would not only captivate your little one's imagination, but would also teach valuable lessons. The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Andito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you. Hotel.
Free your mind. Free your mind. Let it free your mind. Let it go. To the top. Drop it to the floor. Take energy. Come at like whoa. Spring water. Let it go. Free your mind. Let it go. Tap in. Go. Let it nigga know. Hey. Let it nigga know. Let it nigga know. Energy. Come at like whoa. Spring water. Let it grow. Free your mind. Let it go. To the top. Drop it to the floor. Energy. Come at like whoa. Tap in. Go. Let it nigga know. Hey. She told me go and put it in her heart. I told her I don't wanna break it all apart. Let me be a night light in the dark. Hey, my nigga shine bright with the art. Gemini 2 time, know it's hard. Got the stars on the line with the charts. Big dog, so I gotta leave a mark. Free your mind, cause I'm not that smart. Hey, energy, got my light walk. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go. To the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, got my light walk. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know.
You know, I want to thank you guys for showing up. I thank you for your support. Please buy my books. Go to Amazon.com and you can order my books because it's only through your support that I can keep doing this research. Because, see, the goal is to be B1. Yes, we have to be B1. And it's very important in the sense that even though it's kind of hard, even though sometimes we want to give up, you have to support those who want to lead and speak up for us. Support them.
If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears, tell them to stay away. Vampires, they prey on your fears, control your atmosphere. Don't let them take your energy. Control your atmosphere. I am you. Control your atmosphere. Don't let them suck your energy. It's a distraction away from me. I am you and you are me. If you're not going to speak up, support the one.
the only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one.